Welcome to the Describe World channel. Have you ever pondered the whereabouts of the descendants of Abraham and Keturah, the children he had with his second wife, as mentioned in the book of Genesis chapter 25? While Isaac, the child of promise, and Ishmael are often discussed, it's intriguing to explore the fate of the 6 children Abraham had with Keturah. In response to numerous requests from our channel subscribers, we will delve into the question of Abraham and Keturah's descendants in this video. Join us as we explore where their descendants might be today. According to the sacred scriptures, shortly after the loss of his wife Sarah, Abraham decided to marry again. Chronicles mentions that his second wife initially began as a concubine, and later Abraham formalized the marriage, resulting in 6 children with her. This woman's name was Keturah. Keturah is often confused with another figure from the Old Testament, Hagar, who was an Egyptian woman. However, it's essential to note that Keturah is not described as an Egyptian woman and is not linked to the land of Egypt. Respected biblical scholar Richard Elliott Friedman rejects the idea that Keturah is the same person as Hagar. He argues that this identification stems from an ancient rabbinic notion without basis in the Hebrew text. Furthermore, renowned commentators of antiquity, such as Ibn Ezra Ramban and Razban, have also rejected this idea. The Book of Jubilees, an intriguing work of remarkable antiquity dating back to approximately 700 BC, also supports the conclusion that Keturah and Hagar were distinct individuals. It affirms that they were not the same person and even states that Abraham waited until after Hagar's death to marry again. Let us now explore a chapter of the book of Genesis together. Abraham married another woman named Keturah, and she bore him the following children: Medan, Midian, Ishbak, Shua, and others. The descendants of Dedan were the Ashurim, Letushim, and Leumim. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham gave everything he had to Isaac, but to the sons of his concubines, he gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac to the land of the east. Abraham lived for 175 years, died in a good old age, and was gathered to his ancestors. From the text, it is evident that Abraham had an additional 6 children after Isaac, named Simron, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. These 6 children were the result of Abraham's union with Keturah. However, a question arises: what became of the descendants stemming from the union between Abraham and Keturah? Where exactly are these descendants, and in which countries are they located today? It can be stated that one of the most notable tribes from the descendants of Abraham and Keturah was the Midianites. The Midianites were an ancient people who primarily inhabited the northwestern regions of the Arabian Peninsula, including parts of what is now Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, and the Sinai. They are mentioned in various ancient sources, including the Bible, Assyrian texts, and Egyptian records. The Midianites are often closely associated with other groups descended from Abraham. In certain parts of the scriptures, the terms Midianites, Medanites, and Ishmaelites are used interchangeably, indicating that these 3 groups intermingled through marriages. This suggests that the descendants of Abraham's children and concubines united through matrimony. Alongside other sister tribes, the Midianites were also descendants of Keturah, and these tribes primarily inhabited the region of Saudi Arabia. Therefore, it is likely that the descendants of Abraham and Keturah are present today in Saudi Arabia and even in Bahrain. It is worth noting that Bahrain, a country located in the Persian Gulf, hosts a considerable number of descendants from the lineage of Abraham and Keturah. These descendants, stemming from the 6 children of Abraham and Keturah, are dispersed across various parts of Saudi Arabia as well. The presence of their descendants is an intriguing aspect to explore and sheds light on the spread of Abraham's lineage. Notably, one tribe from Keturah's lineage occupied an area in Saudi Arabia near the borders with Jordan, including the ancient region of Edom. This observation finds support in the book of Job, which mentions one of Job's friends as a Kushite. In chapter 2, verse 11 of the book of Job, it is mentioned that one of Job's friends was named Zophar, the Naamathite. Zophar is among the friends who came to comfort Job during his difficult times, and the Kushites are descendants of Shua, one of Abraham's children with Keturah. This connection further establishes the presence of Abraham and Keturah's descendants in the region. The current population of Saudi Arabia is largely composed of direct descendants of Abraham and Keturah. The 6 tribes descending from Keturah hold a significant presence in Saudi Arabia and form the foundation of the population. The renowned Midianites, among other tribes, are connected to Abraham's lineage and are part of the Saudi Arabian inhabitants. In addition to the 6 Arab tribes constituting Saudi Arabia's population, the influence of the Ishmaelites is also noteworthy. Through interlinked marriages in ancient times and even in the present day, Arabs continue to come together through marriage, promoting cultural amalgamation and further strengthening the connections between the descendants of Abraham. Beyond the descendants of Abraham and Keturah, it is fascinating to note that Saudi Arabia also houses a Kushite presence. Certain descendants of Kush, a group historically established in Ethiopia, Somalia, and other African nations, have found a home in the region encompassing Yemen and Oman. This is partly due to Yemen's ancient region, which was a kingdom known as Sheba, comprising both Ethiopians from Ethiopia and Semitic Sabians. The history and wealth of the kingdom of Sheba are often linked to biblical legends and stories, including the renowned visit of the Queen of Sheba to King Solomon, as described in the Old Testament. The migration of some members of this population to the Saudi Arabian region has added to the ethnic and historical diversity of the territory. An intriguing aspect deserving attention is the story of Jethro, the wife of a prominent character from the Old Testament. Jethro's story is closely tied to Moses' narrative and the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. Jethro, a priest of Midian and a tribal leader, played a significant role in Moses' life. His wife, surprisingly, was a Kushite woman, adding another layer of diversity to the lineage of Abraham and Keturah. In conclusion, the descendants of Abraham and Keturah, including the Midianites and other tribes, have a significant presence in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. The intermingling of tribes through marriages has further strengthened the connections between these descendants. Additionally, the presence of Kushite descendants and the historical connections to the kingdom of Sheba add to the diversity and richness of the region. Join us as we continue to explore the fascinating stories and connections of the matriarchs and patriarchs of humanity in our upcoming series. Stay tuned for more captivating content